But Tom,
Yeah, gotcha.
you came out with a whopper that basically went against all of these recommendations we've been seeing for years that have no more than 6 grams a day. And you know, when you get the little red traffic light labels screaming at you saying, don't eat this salt. Talk us through it.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I found this paper, and as per usual, as is part of the show, Bill, I'm about to butcher this person's name, but Niels Grodal. And basically, his paper, 2018, conflicting evidence on health effects associated with salt reduction, calls for a redesign of the salt dietary guidelines. And shall I just read out the abstract on this? 95% of the world's population have a mean salt intake between 6 and 12 grams, which is much lower than the tolerated daily level of up to 55 grams per day. In spite of this, the recommended upper level by many health institutions is as low as 5.8 grams a day. When reviewing the evidence for an upper level of 5.8 grams a day, it becomes apparent that neither the supporting studies selected by the health institutions nor randomized controlled trials and prospective observational studies disregarded by the health institutions document that a salt intake below this 5.8 grams has beneficial health effects. Although there is an association between salt intake and blood pressure, which is very important, both in randomized controlled trials and observational studies, this association is weak, especially in non-obese individuals with normal blood pressure. Furthermore, a salt intake below 5.8 grams is associated with the activation of the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, God help me, an increase in plasma lipids and increased mortality. A redesign of the salt dietary guidelines, therefore, seems to be needed. And I just want to add on to that as well, Bill, that the National Academy of Medicine, which is, you know, a recommended organisation, they did a review in 2013 and they concluded that the evidence from studies on direct health outcomes was insufficient and inconsistent regarding an association between sodium intake below 2.3 grams per day and benefit or risk of CVD outcomes, including stroke and CVD mortality or all-cause mortality in the general US population. So basically, the current guidelines where they're saying you must kind of stick below this amount hasn't really kind of shown any health benefits. However, it's a bit different when it comes down to people who have like blood pressure problems or the morbidly obese. On top of that, if you're taking too less salt, it actually increases your mortality rate. And do you know what? I just want to say, because of a lot of our listeners as well are military or going military, there have been cases of death where salt levels have been really low. There was that Royal Marine a couple of years ago. It was like 2015. I think it was a Royal Marine where he was drinking so much water he flushed the electrolytes out of his body. He had no salt, and it can be dangerous if you're not consuming salt.
Yeah, and that's why I think a lot of people, they did, obviously in the poll we did, they mentioned how salt has other uses and is important for other parts of your health.
Especially
which is why
sports performance.
Yeah, which is why potentially when we say, yes, MSG is lower in sodium, it's probably not best to completely eliminate salt and just have MSG, because you're potentially then having way low salt. But I thought that is really important. What blows my mind is how that paper identified that the 6 grams or 5.8, whatever they said, is what they just shows is that the papers they used to support that weren't even supporting it. No. I mean, how that just blows your mind is how they've gone, yeah, we'll go with 6. The science doesn't really support it, really, but we'll just stick with, why have they chose 6? I don't get it.
I mean, the thing is, like, I want to kind of be careful with how I tread here, but a lot of like the go-to papers on current recommendations for things, and this includes exercise as well, do need updating.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, there was even a call for the definition of what health is to be changed some time back as well. So yeah, like we do always need to kind of be researching these kind of topics over and over again and updating them as necessary.
Yeah. especially things like this,
Especially
because
since we have put such a fear on salt
salt.
that we've now kind of gone back on ourselves, and now people are not getting enough salt in. Well,
Well,
some
it's
people
like
at least.
we're gonna come on to certain things that are high in salt. Like if we just jump forward a bit, I think like ready meals. For some people, they're like a super convenient way
Yeah.
of getting some food in because they've got really busy lives and they forget. But the problem is, you get labels now of like fucking bright red labels saying, "Oh, this has got 2 grams of salt in. You need to be scared." And people are
Yeah.
thinking, "Fuck, this is going to kill me."
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, because they're worried that this 6 grams is the upper limit. But what we're seeing now is that potentially you can have more, and it's not really gonna be that. Obviously, you don't want to take the piss of it, but by keeping it below 6, doesn't seem to improve health outcomes according to that 2018 paper.
Yeah.
So
But once again, it's really important that we mention it's a bit different when it comes to people with high blood pressure, etc. In which case, straight away, I'm just going to say, talk to your doctor. The egg will float in salt water.
yeah, okay.
Because when salt is added to water, its density became greater than that of the egg. So yeah, that is how boats stay afloat. That's how boats used to stay afloat. They just kept on throwing salt over the edge of the boat, and it made the sea more buoyant.
Yeah, it made the sea
Made the boat
more.
more buoyant. Yeah.
If you are listening and you are in
There
the
you
Royal
go.
Navy, there's a top tip from Tom for you. If you find yourself sinking out in the ocean, just start throwing salt overboard.
But it is, it is the dosage that matters. So make
The
sure you use the
dosage.
right dose.
What
2
is the dose then?
tablespoons.
2 tables.
Just
Oh,
told
right,
you,
okay.
2 tablespoons.
Yeah.
2 poop decks worth of salt.
That's
2
irrelevant, isn't it?
Titanic lifeboat worth of Saxo salt.